Hello, my name is Ger Zielinski and I teach at Ryerson University based in Toronto, Canada. I've been researching and writing on festivals for over a decade, and I'm here today to present my short paper, What You Ask and How You Ask It is What You Get on Disciplinarity in the Multidisciplinary Studies of Film Festivals. Preambulation. Conferences like this one offer us the valuable opportunity to reflect on our earlier as well as current approaches to research, which may in turn influence our future tact and direction. I'd like to start with a short anecdote to refresh my own mind and position, and then proceed from there. Back in the early 2000s, when I was considering my dissertation topic on LGBT film festivals, I had several important conversations with film studies scholars on whether to take the leap into the barely nascent research area. Those colleagues with a stronger interest in textual analysis found the prospect of the research daunting and feared it would take them away from what they really wanted to do. On the other hand, whereas colleagues with a pure media studies background were comfortable with the notion of analyzing festivals as part of the film industry, they had no idea what to do with the films themselves. It seemed reasonable to me to assume that a certain range of positions existed between the qualitative end of film studies and the more quantitative media studies in approaching film festivals. I continue to contend that the study of festivals inhabits that special interstitial place between approaches and methods in film studies and media studies and disciplines beyond. In this short paper, I offer a series of observations on film festivals and how they might be studied and thought through. Implicitly, I argue against any ostensible unified general theoretical framework or methodological approach to the study of film festivals. A little more explicitly, I argue for a pragmatic bricolage of disciplinary methods appropriate to the set of questions at hand. Observation 1. Disciplinarity in the research area reveals itself in a number of ways. The questions and concerns of any discipline will guide the approach and methods employed. As the title of my paper suggests, what you ask and how you ask it is what you get. The stronger the disciplinary exigencies, the more confined the scope of the project. The project on the circulation of affect, for example, may not be too concerned with the flow of economic capital and power relations. Similarly, an old school, let's call it uncritical, political economy of the festival circuit would have no interest in subjective responses to individual ephemera or films. At the same time, both bring out important facets of what we can call a film festival. In a strongly disciplinary mode, there would be no middle ground between the two approaches. Observation 2. Multidisciplinary approaches to the study of film festivals are flexible and ever-expanding. I choose multidisciplinary over the trendier and older interdisciplinary because that seems to be what is at play in the studies, not an interest in the in-betweenness of the disciplines. Similarly, the transdisciplinary aspect of the methods and approaches is not in question. Instead, they are shared, but not through the elimination or overcoming of discipline. Observation 3, and I consider this a bit of a corollary. The epistemological framework determines in many respects what constitutes festival for the project at hand. To bring back the example from earlier, without doubt, the affect scholar would portray a festival in a radically different light to the old school political economist. The very substance of the notion of the festival to one would be incomprehensible to the other. This is what makes a general closed-form definition of film festival very challenging, if not impossible, to write, since any scholar's theoretical and disciplinary presuppositions would clearly drive its substance. Effectively, any definition hinges on the questions and presuppositions guiding the research project of the scholar. Finally, deambulation. It's simply a word that I'm borrowing from the Romance languages, and it plays into the preambulation and ambulation that I've used previously, but it's not really a word that indicates finality, right? It's more of an indication of the wandering that comes ahead, it comes before us, not a closure of that. So finding appropriate words for what we do can be challenging. Choosing the wrong one may lead us down wasteful paths unwittingly. With some hesitation, I'm borrowing figuratively from Claude Lévi-Strauss's concept of the bricoleur, which he places in contrast to the modern engineer. Like Derrida and Deleuze, I have some critical use for bricolage. If the bricoleur is the one who bravely takes multidisciplinary approaches, the engineer is strictly unidisciplinary, each to their own. The bricoleur is open to the messiness of multidisciplinarity and the contingency of bringing together a variety of approaches and discipline in view of precisely what questions the researcher is asking. This way of understanding the area opens it to the full spectrum, from the humanities to the empirical social sciences, qualitative to quantitative, and promises much growth. While the time frame of this paper is tight, I think it permitted me to sketch out some broader issues of method and approach in a stick figure and heuristic manner. I thank you for your attention and look forward to any discussions that follow.